Hey guys, so for today I have this idea of creating a React app completely from the scratch. So we're not going to be using any, create React app or anything like that. Maybe you have a reason, whatever the reason is that you need to do this, by yourself. So we'll do all the files ourselves. We do it in TypeScript, and we're going to do all the Babel and Webpack config ourselves. It's been a while since I've done this. Last time it's maybe like 2 years or something. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting and hopefully a lot of fun. So let's just get into it. Okay, so here I am with my IDE. I'm using VS Code. The first thing you want to make sure you got Node.js installed. I already have it installed, but if you don't, just search for Node.js on Google. Or you can head straight to the nodejs.org and then just download the latest recommended version, which is here. It's currently 18.17.1, and once you install it, you're gonna get the Node.js and the npm. It's like a classic standalone app type of installation, so it shouldn't be really a problem. Okay, so let's create our project folder. Maybe we can call it, I don't know, React from the scratch. Let's move into the directory. So what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna initialize the project. So the way we do it with Node, you run the command npm init, and I'm gonna pass the flag -y, which is gonna automatically populate all options with the default values, just so you don't have to do it. But if you want to do it, you don't have to pass that flag, and you'll be asked a bunch of questions about like all these things like keywords, author, description, name. So here is our package.json file. It's pretty basic. There's not much in it, but we're gonna add to it because we're gonna need some dependencies. So let's just do that. So first of all, we're gonna need to install React, right? We're gonna need React DOM. We're gonna need TypeScript because we're gonna be doing this in TypeScript, and we're gonna need some types. So types for React and types for React DOM. So we just wait for a second and it should be installed. Yeah, so we can see there in our package.json that all the dependencies were installed successfully. So the next thing, inside of our project, we're going to create a new folder called source src, and within that folder we're going to create a file called index.tsx. So if we open that file, we're gonna need to add some React code. So let's just start with some imports. So we're gonna need React from React. So apart from React, we're also importing the FC, which stands for function component, and is basically imported for like defining functional components. It's kind of like a TypeScript thing. And then we're also going to import React DOM, and that's imported because we're going to need it for rendering components into the DOM. And we're going to import that from React DOM/client. So now we want to create our root. So we do const root React DOM that create root. So this is going to create a root instance that will be used for rendering our app, and it takes this create root function, it takes an argument that specifies the root DOM element where the React application will be rendered. So I'm gonna use documented get element by ID, and I'm gonna call it, you can call it whatever you want, but most people just call it root. And we also need to add a type. And then we're gonna grab that root and we're gonna render it gonna use the React strict mode. And React strict mode is like a built-in component that helps kind of identify potential problems in your app during development. Let's actually do it like this. And then within the strict mode, we actually need to create our main app component. So we're just gonna do it here above. You can put it in its own file if you prefer, but for now, for this tutorial, we just do it above here. And let's just return something, I don't know, my React app or something. And then we put it within the strict mode. And I'm using pret here, so that's why you see the formatting kind of jumping when I save the file. It just kind of clean up my code formatting automatically, so I don't have to worry about that manually. Okay, so next thing we want to do, we also want to create the index HTML file. So the way I like to do it, I'll just put it in the I'll create a new folder called public, and then within that public folder I'll create the index HTML. So for this one, I'm not going to type it from the scratch, I'm just going to kind of copy paste it, kind of boilerplate. I'm going to leave the link to this code in the description of the video, so you can just use it as a reference or just copy paste if you want. And here you can see the root. So this one, the ID needs to be the same as we specified in our index.tsx. Okay, so if you call this one root, then this div ID has to also be called the same. So the next thing we want to do, we're gonna do the Babel and let's just do the Babel first. So we're gonna need some more dependencies. So we're gonna install Babel loader. We're gonna need some Babel presets. So we're gonna need this one. We also gonna need React preset. We also gonna need Babel preset typescript. And we're just gonna save these as dev dependencies. So let's install those. And now we're able to create a new file which is going to be called .babel.rc, which is kind of like a Babel config file, and we're just going to list all these presets we just installed. So let's do that. So we can do Babel.rc. Okay, and it follows like kind of JSON file structure. So you want to do presets, and then you want to list all your presets. So we're gonna use the env preset, and then we're gonna use the React preset, and we also gonna list the TypeScript preset. So just maybe to say a word about each of these. So the Babel preset env, that one is used to transpile modern, like, you know, JavaScript syntax to kind of an older version, which is going to be compatible with the target environments. And then the preset React, the preset React, that one is used to transpile JSX syntax used in React components into regular JavaScript. And then the last one, the TypeScript preset, that one is used to transpile TypeScript code into JavaScript, allowing you to write TypeScript in your files. So all these presets, they're gonna make sure that our code can work across different browsers and environments, and it allows us to use the modern language features like JSX and TypeScript in our code base. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to Webpack setup. So again, we're gonna need to install some additional dependencies. So we're gonna have to install the Webpack itself, Webpack CLI, Webpack dev server, and then HTML Webpack plugin, TS loader, and we're also gonna save it and install it as a dev dependencies. Okay, so now we need to create a new file, which is going to be called webpack.config.js. Again, I'm going to copy and paste some boilerplate code, and then we can explain a little bit of what's going on. So at the beginning, we have some required imports. So we need the path, which is like a built-in Node.js. It kind of helps to work with, you know, the files and then the directories. And then we have the HTML Webpack plugin, which we installed previously, and it's just going to help us with the creation of our HTML file. With the settings for the entry point, this one is pointing to this index.tsx file, and it's kind of like our application entry point, and this is like the main file that Webpack will start bundling from. And then if we move on to the output, when we bundle our code, then the file that's going to be generated by Webpack is going to be called bundle.js. Again, you can call it whatever you want, but I guess the best practice or the most common name that people give to this file is bundle.js, and it's going to be placed in the dist directory. So that's why we have this line here. For the module rules, this configuration specifies a rule for handling various types of code files. So, you know, JavaScript, JSX, TS, TSX, and then we're excluding non-modules, and what we want to use is Babel loader, and that one is used to transpile these files. The resolve extensions, this tells to Webpack what file extensions to kind of consider when resolving modules. So in our case, it's all these that we listed, right? So JS, JSX, TS, and TSX. Then we have a plugins array, and we only have one plugin right now, and that one is the HTML Webpack plugin. It's pointing to the, as you can see, the public/index HTML, which is the HTML file that we created previously. This plugin is used to kind of automatically generate the HTML file that will include our bundled script. Once we load the app in the HTML file, you will see the script that will be called bundle.js, and they'll be linked together. Then we have some dev server set up for the port. I went with the number 5000 because I have something running on the port number 3000, but you can choose whatever port you want. Usually people choose 3000, 3001. Sometimes I do 5000. Let's do 3001. Maybe for 5000 it's more like people like to do like something like, I don't know, like your backend server or something. And the static directory path, that's the folder where the static files will be served from. And then last but not least, but for the mode, it is set to production. Maybe we should set it to development, just because we're actually gonna run it locally. We're gonna try later to actually build our app and see if that works as expected. But yeah, let's just set it to development for now. So you can set this one, by the way, to production development, and it can also be set to none. And I think if you don't set it at all, it will be by default set to production. But when you're deploying your app and maybe through the CI or something, you can just change it to production. And then while you're running locally, it can be development. It's up to you how you set these things, but for now let's do the development and let's try to run it locally. So I think we should have everything to be able to run this locally, as long as our paths are correct. So if you want to run this locally, I believe that all you need to do is just npx webpack and then serve. So yeah, let's try the local host, and you can see the port is listed here, 3001, as we specified up here. So let's go to our browser and let's just try to run it. And there we go. There is our React app, but as an example, it's good enough. We can see it's running the React and everything. Development build of React. So yeah, it works. I mean, let's try to change something to see if the hot reload works. So maybe we can change something to, I don't know, my beautiful React app, and save. Go back to browser, and yes, you can see that it actually automatically reload the page when you change the code on your components. Yeah, I think the last thing I want to try is to actually build this. Just to see what happens, I'll set it to production, and then to build it, it should be just npx webpack, and it should create the dist folder, which is gonna be our build version, production version of our app. So yeah, there it is. You can see that this, and it should be the index.html, and it should be the minified version of the code. So and same for the bundle.js. We can try to run that. So in our browser, so I have a little extension called live server, and I believe there should be open with live server. And here you can see the script. You can see the script and the bundle.js. That's the one I was talking about before. So here is your bundle.js, and that one should be the minified version if we open it in new tab. Yeah. So this is how you create your React app from the scratch. Obviously there's many settings and customizations you can do with this, because you have access to your Webpack config. file, you can do pretty much whatever you want, whatever config you want. Same with Babel, which, you know, if you're using something like Create React App, and unless you eject from that, you just won't have access to all these customizations, which, you know, many times is more than good enough, and you might never need that. But there are situations in, you know, if you work in some company and they might need some custom setups, custom, you know, configs for either Webpack or Babel. So I'm gonna push this code to my GitHub. I'm gonna make the source code available for you, or maybe you can use this as, you know, your starter pack for React apps. Okay, so that'll be everything for today's video. I hope you learned something. Thank you very much for watching, and if you liked the video, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you can. You know, it will help my channel to grow, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.